Hello friends. So in previous video we discussed about this section 5, that is monograph component. Now in this video we are going to discuss about this section 6, that is testing practices and procedure, which are mentioned into the journal notices and requirement, United States of Pharmacopoeia. Friends, my YouTube channel name is Pharma Quality, so please view, like, comment and subscribe my channel. So today we are going to discuss this section 6, that is testing practices and procedures, which are mentioned into the general notices and requirement, United States of Pharmacopoeia, right? So here are subsection, that is safe laboratory practices, automated procedures, alternative and harmonized method and procedures, dried anhydrous ignited or solvent free basis, preparation of solutions, units necessary to complete a test, reagent and equipment. So all these sections we're going to cover into this video, right? So first subsection, that is 6.10, is safe laboratory practices. So basically a safe laboratory practices must be followed while performing compendial procedure, that procedure which are mentioned into the monograph or any USP chapters, right? So this includes using appropriate precautionary measures, protective equipment and work practices suitable for the chemicals and processes involved. So before starting any procedure, the analyst should understand the hazards associated with the chemicals and techniques used, and as well as the methods for protecting against those hazards, right? So the compendia do not describe these hazards or protective measures, so ensuring laboratory safety remains the responsibility of the analyst, right? So whenever you are going to perform any kind of analysis, so when you are going to be follow that particular monograph for a particular test, then there is no any precautionary measure has been mentioned into that monograph for the to follow the safe laboratory practices. So this is the general notices where you have to follow the safe laboratory practices while performing the any kind of analytical work, right? So next is 6.20, that is automated procedure. So automated procedures and manual procedures that use the same basic chemistry and considered equivalent, right? That means if you are following any manual procedure for testing process or other activities in the regulated environment, and in place of manual procedure you adopt the automated system, then both the procedures should produce the same results, right? So whenever you are adopting any automated procedure, that resembles the same results as per the manual procedures, right? So there that both the manual and automated should be considered as a equivalent. So next is 6.30, that is alternative and harmonized methods and procedure. So basically alternative methods or procedures may be used when they offer advantages such as improved accuracy, sensitivity, precision, selectivity or suitability for automation or computerized data handling, right? So these alternative method must be validated as per the USP 1225 chapter and demonstrated to provide results that are equivalent or better. So you have to perform that method validation, right? That means you are proofing that the procedure is harmonized and it is giving the more accurate and sensitive result as compared to the manual one, right? So however, only results obtained using compendial methods are considered conclusive. Alternative procedures may be submitted to USP for evaluation as a replacement or addition to the existing method. For example, if you are using any monograph from the USP chapter, then that compendial method should be used, considered, right, for the any analytical activity. But if you are using any alternate method and your results precision are more accurate than the procedure which are mentioned into the monograph, then whatever the procedure you are additionally following, that you should be submitted to the USP, right? And then USP will going to evaluate this, and based on that there will be the approval, and you will be going to use that method, and then further USP can revise their monograph, right? And also some general chapters are harmonized within the Europe or Japanese pharmacopoeia, and such methods are interchangeable. In case of any difference or dispute, only results obtained using the USP method are considered final, right? So for example, any general chapters like general practices which is mentioned in the European or Japanese pharmacopoeia, that can be interchangeable with the either you can follow the European, Japanese or USP. But in case of results, if you are claiming for the USP US region, then the result should be considered as per the USP chapters of monograph, right? So next section is 6.40, that is dried anhydrous ignited or solvent free basis. So all calculation in the compendia are based on an as is basis unless otherwise specified. So you need to be considered as is basis calculation, right? And test may be performed on undried or unignited samples with results calculated on dried anhydrous or ignited basis provided the relevant tests such as loss on drying, water or loss of ignition that should be calculated into the monograph. So for example, if you are performing the assay test, then first you will calculate the result as is basis, and if the material or product is having the test that is LOD, water content or loss on ignition, then based on that you need to be calculate the result on anhydrous basis with respect to the water content test, and on dried basis assay calculation with respect to the loss on drying test, right? And again, when moisture or volatile materials may affect the test, prior drying is mandatory as specified in the monograph. The term solvent free means results must be corrected for known solvent as per USP chapter 467 unless otherwise stated. So the term previously dried indicate drying according to USP 731 or 921 chapter using appropriate drying equipments. That means 731 is for loss on drying and water determination is for 921 chapter, right? So you can use the suitable it's called the gravimetric determination, and where you can use the drying vacuum oven or desiccant that is directed to a vacuum desiccator or a vacuum drying pistol or other suitable vacuum drying apparatus can be used, right? So the next is 6.40.10, that is ignite to constant weight. So the term ignite to constant weight means that the sample is ignited at 800 plus or minus 25 degrees Celsius unless otherwise specified, right? So you need to perform the loss on ignition test at 800 degrees Celsius temperature. If any other specific temperature has been given into the particular monograph or test procedure, then you need to follow that temperature, right? So ignition is continued until two consecutive weights taken after an appropriate additional ignition period differ by not more than 0.50 milligrams per gram of substance taken. So for example, if you are performing any test for a raw material and you are going to perform this ignition test, right? That is called loss on ignition. So you have to take the 1 gram of sample and then you need to be ignite with 800 degrees Celsius temperature, and after the cooling into the desiccator you need to take the W1, and then again you need to again ignite that sample at 800 degrees. So this process will be continued until unless the difference of the weight between the last weight and the current weight, that should be not more than 0.50 milligrams per gram of substance taken, right? So for the detailed video all of this section I'll prepare a different videos for these. Now the next is 6.40.20, that is dried to constant weight. So the term dried to constant weight means that drying is continued until two consecutive weighing taken after an appropriate additional drying period differ by not more than 0.50 milligrams per gram of substance taken, right? So this is the same concept as we discussed for the ignition, right? Now the next section is 6.50, that is preparation of solution. So for the preparation solution we use different stuff into this, like the subsection for this preparation of solution is 6.50.10, that is filtration. So when a procedure instruct to filter without further qualification, right, so the liquid should be passed through the suitable filter paper or an equivalent device until the filtrate is clear. Due to possible filter effects, the initial portion of the filtrate may be discarded, right. So for example, you are having this solution and this is your funnel, and you put this filter here, and while putting this all solution through passing through the filter, so filtrate, the clear solution will be this, and you can discard this residue, right. So now next section is 6.50.20, that is solution. So unless otherwise specified, all solution are prepared using purified water. So purified water is mandatory for preparation of any analytical solution, right. So solution intended for quantitative measurement must be prepared using accurately weighed or measured analytes, right. So an expression such as 1 in 10 means one part of a liquid by volume or one part of solid by weight is diluted or dissolved to make a total volume of 10 parts. That means either you have to take 1 gram of sample in case of solid and 1 ml of solvent in case of liquid. So you need to be put one part, that is 1 gram, into the 10 ml of medium, that means any solvents. So one part will be make up to the 10 ml of the solution, so total volume will be the 10 ml, right. Now the expression such as 20 is to 5 is to 2 means that the respective number of parts by volume of the designated liquid shall be mixed unless otherwise indicated. That means 20 is the for example 20 is the component A, and 5 is the component B, and 2 is the component C. So all these three different component you have to be mixed into the same ratio, like 20 ml of component A, 5 ml of component B, or 2 ml of component C. So you need to be uh, take those samples or solution in this ratio, and you can make the volume, right. Now the next section is 6.50.20.1, that is adjustment to solution. So adjustment to solution shall be performed as specified in the procedure to achieve the required concentration or conditions, right. Next is 6.50.20.2, that is test solution information. So test solution are prepared as directed in the procedure using the specified materials and condition to ensure accurate and reliable results. So now the next is 6.50.20.3, that is indicator solution. So indicator solution are prepared as specified in the procedure and used to indicate the endpoint or condition required for the test. So all these solution, or whether it's adjustment of the solution, whether test solution information, whether indicator solution, so you need to follow the specific procedure method, right. Whatever the procedure is mentioned in the specific monograph, you need to be follow that. Now the next section is 6.60, that is units necessary to complete a test. So unless otherwise specified, a sufficient number of units shall be taken to ensure that a suitable and reliable analytical results is obtained. So basically it is mentioned that how many number of tablets you need to be take, right, or based on the method validation you can take those tablets. So next is 6.60.10, that is tablets. So when a tablet monograph requires weighing and finally powdering a specified number of tablets, the counted tablets are weighed. For example, 20 tablets or 10 tablets and reduced to fine powder. So after weighing, you need to be crush the tablets to get the fine powder. Then a representative of portion of the powder tablets is then accurately weighed for the analysis. So you can, after the crushing and getting the fine powder, you can take the weight of those powder, right. And the next section is 6.60.20, that is capsules. So when a capsule monograph requires removal of the content from a specified number of capsules, for example 10 capsule or 20 capsule, so the capsule are carefully opened and the contents are completely removed from the capsule's gelatin, right? Then the contents are combined, mixed thoroughly and accurately weighed. Then you have to mix all the content from the 10 capsule or 20 capsule. Then you need to be mix those content, right? And then a representative portion of the mixed content is then taken and wait for the analysis, right? So now the next section is 6.70, that is reagents. So the reliability of compendial procedure depends partly on the quality of reagents used, right? So unless otherwise specified, reagents complying with the current ACS reagents chemical specifications shall be used. So ACS means American Chemical Society, where ACS specifications are available or different purity is required. So the USPNF provides compendial specification, right? Then the reagents not covered by these standards should be of suitable grade for the intended test or assay. Listing of reagents does not imply therapeutic use, and any USP or NF reference on labeling must include the term reagents or reagent grade, right? So USP may apply reagents when they are not generally commercially available. Now the next section is 6.80, that is equipment. So unless otherwise specified, any specification for a particular size or type of container or apparatus is given only as a recommendation. Alternative dimension or types may be used provided they are suitable for the intended purpose, right? So the next section is 6.80.10, that is operators for measurement. So when volumetric flask or other precise measuring, weighing or sorting devices are specified, these or other equipment of at least equivalent accuracy must be used, right? The next is 6.80.10.1, that is pipette. So when a pipette is specified, a suitable burette may be used as a substitute. If a to contain pipette is specified, a suitable volumetric flask may be used instead, right? Then the next is 6.80.10.2, that is light protection. So when low actinic or light resistant container are specified, either specifically treated containers or clear containers made opaque with a suitable coating or wrapping may be used to protect the contents from the light, right? Now the next is 6.80.20, that is instrumental apparatus. So instrument may be substituted for the specified one if it operates on the same fundamental principles and has equivalent or greater sensitivity and accuracy. So these characteristics must be properly qualified. Any mention of a specific brand, source or manufacturer is provided for informational convenience only and does not imply approval, endorsement or certifications, right? So now next is 6.80.20.1, that is chromatographic tubes and column. So the term diameter refers to internal diameter, right? Next one is the tubing, that is 6.80.20.2. So the term diameter refers to outside diameter, that is OD. Next one is the 6.80.20.3, that is steam bath. So where use of steam bath is directed, use actively flowing steam or another regulated heat source control at an equivalent temperature, right? The next is 6.80.20.4, that is water bath. So a water bath requires vigorously boiling water unless otherwise specified, right? So this is all about the section 6 of general notices and requirement. Thank you.